everyone, welcome to Finding the Area of a Triangle tutorial. My name is Miss Gillum. If you do not have me as your teacher, if you have me as your teacher, I'm glad you're here and you're watching this. I hope this clears up any misunderstandings of how to find the area of a triangle. So, before we can start solving for area of a triangle, we need to understand where the formula is coming from to help us remember the actual formula. If you're in my class, you will be given a reference sheet, and you don't have to memorize it, but to understand why it works the way it does, we need to look at the area of a rectangle. So we learned that the area of a rectangle is A equals base times height, or area equals length times width. We also remember talking about that our base is at the bottom of the rectangle, and that our height is going to be how tall the rectangle is. So we have our base and our height. So we need to look at how is this related to a triangle? Well, if I wanted to make a triangle out of this rectangle, we would need to create a diagonal line across from one side to the other. And this is not a perfect line, and I understand that. But now you notice, if we do area equals base, so this is my base, times the height, that would give me an entire rectangle. But if I just wanted to know what the triangle is that I have outlined, that is where I would have to do area equals. So some of us said in class, base times height divided by 2, because there are two triangles. Here's triangle 1, here's triangle 2. But another way to write this that you'll see on your formula sheet is A equals 1/2 times your base times your height. Now let's take a look at some example problems. The first thing I recommend you do every problem is write your formula out. A equals 1/2 times base times height, even though you have your formula sheet. So then the next thing I would do is, okay, what is my base? This 24 inches is my base. It's the bottom of the triangle. And it is a height of 7 inches. This 25 is called a hypotenuse, but it is not the height because it is slanted. So now we are going to plug in the numbers. So we have 1/2 times my base is 24 times my height is 7. So remember, with multiplication, you can multiply in any order. So I'm going to do 1/2 times 24 first. Remember, we talked about half multiplied by a number just is cutting the number in half, which gives me 12. And then we have 12 times 7. And if we're not sure, we can come over to the side and do a little math. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 7 times 1 is 7, plus that 1 is 84. So we could say our area is 84 inches squared. And remember, we talked about why it's inches squared, because you have 7 inches times 24 inches, okay, and times that half. So, but this inches times inches right there creates that to be inches squared, because you are multiplying inches twice, inch and an inch, which means inches squared. Okay, let's look at another example problem. Do you remember what the first thing I told you was? That's right, write your formula. Area equals 1/2 times your base times your height. So in this problem, I have area equals 1/2 times, okay, our 12 is our base because it's our bottom flat side. 9 is slanted, so that can't be the height. 5 is slanted, so the height has to be this 4, because it is the only line that makes that 90-degree angle. So we have our base is 12 times 4. So then we can do, once again, the order does not matter. So 1/2 times 12 is 6, and so we have 6 times 4 left over, which gives me 24, and we're just, if there's no label, we just write units squared. Okay, this will be our last practice problem. So first thing we're going to do once again is we are going to write our formula. So we have area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So area equals, okay, what is my basis problem? So we're looking, this right here is my base. So my base equals B. So I'm going to plug this in for my base. Next, my height is how tall it is, which is this 6 right here. Sometimes your height has to be on the outside when the triangle doesn't have a good place to actually put the height on the inside. So then I'm going to plug my height in here. So we have 1/2 times my base, which was 10, times my height, which was 6. So then we have the area equals, so once again, you can do this in any order. If you want to do 1/2 and then do 10 times 6, which gives me 60. And then you have the area equals, what's 1/2 times 60? What's half of 60? 30. And this is going to be feet squared. Okay, so just so you see that the order does not matter, let's do 1/2 times 10 times 6. So 1/2 times 10, though, is 5. And then we have 5 times 6, which gives me 30 as well. So it doesn't matter the order that you multiply in, because multiplication has that awesome property called the associative property that tells you it doesn't matter which order you're multiplying in. Bravo, you finished this tutorial. Practice this at home, and if you have any other questions, feel free to send them on here.